Hi. Um, in my paper, I wrote about really the general history of the Christian church and how we have come to see the different denominations as we do and the impacts of it in the modern church. In the first part, I really talk about, you know, the biggest kind of like heavy hitters in Christian history. And in the second part, I talk about like the general disagreements in the denominations. But I feel like the last part is kind of really what I wanted my focus to be on. And that's the fact that God's sovereignty extends beyond all of that stuff. And the most important message is that in His workings within us, in His detailing when He creates us, we can really see that nothing is accidental. So even if our church has become somewhat divided in our eyes and somewhat, you know, incohesive, incoherent, either one really, that, you know, the focus of the Lord isn't really even on the denominations, it's on us as individuals, you know. And we can get caught up in all of the traditions, and we can get caught up in all of the semantics, and we can get, you know, lost in trying to give a defense for our particular denomination or our stance on why we are, you know, a Baptist or a Pentecostal, or why, you know, Catholics are the right way to express your faith, or why Protestants are, you know, the arguments are endless, and you hear them all the time. You hear them every single day, especially like working in a church and being a part of a believer in an active community. Of course, you're going to see people being so vehemently attached to the reasons that they believe, and they should be, right? Like, you know, there's multiple verses in the Bible, and we have an entire apologetics commitment, right? And those things are incredibly important, but to be caught up in that over the main message is kind of reductionist, I feel. And in my paper, I really wanted the first part to focus on the history. Like, I wanted it to be the emphasis on the church as an incohesive whole, and why it got there, and what's led us to that. And not that it's even necessarily a deterrent for the mission, right? I don't think it is. I think it can be. But in my last paragraph, I talk about how the Lord has kind of used neuroscience to really, like, to me, it shows that we can do all we want to try and reason our way out of saying that, you know, we're the ones that are in control of why we believe what we believe, and we are, but we're also not. We're also, you know, subject to God's creation. Like, we are His creation, and all of creation follows His voice. And to serve a loving God is to trust in a loving God. And when we kind of get caught up in the divisions, I think we can lose sight that we are brothers and sisters in Christ, and we're here to carry one another's burdens with each other. And so we speak more to the division rather than to the unity. And in my last section, I really talk about how speaking truth and speaking words of life have a scientific, like substantial evidentiary basis that you can not really refute. And I think that that's probably one of the coolest things about God, is that, you know, He puts Himself into the details so much so that even secular science proves Him, you know. And like, I, yeah, I don't think I had enough time to actually go into every single detail in my paper, but that's probably one of my favorite things about um, searching out the different, reasons why I believe what we believe, not because I want to prove others wrong, but because I just want to prove His glory, and, tell other people about His love and how He's changed me and how it can change them. And that's kind of how I concluded my paper, I guess, or I hope. But yeah, so it was really fun. It was really interesting.